Hello, everybody, and welcome again to another installment of Paranormal Q&A with Jack, Kenna, and Carly Hall,
Hi.
where Carly is the founder of the new Christmas in a Cup paranormal team. Um,
Oh, now it's a paranormal team, huh?
yeah, we're going to create that as a Christmas. People will call us all the time
Oh,
because
Lord.
they'll think we're going to have Christmas in a Cup over at their place or something.
Sounds fantastic.
Christmas in a Cup. There you go. We'll talk about that because the two people that kind of came up with that new name for us, besides you, are guests tonight, and that's Ernie Atwell and Dave
David Siler.
Siler. Yes. So tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about him before we bring him on, Carly.
Okay, so Ernie Atwell and David Siler, they are very awesome people. Let me just pull up their bio real quick.
We know they're awesome people. That's beside
They
the.
are. All right. So, Ernie's been investigating the paranormal for over 15 years. As a member of paranormal research of MD for 5 years, he's traveled up and down the East Coast investigating commercial, residential, and historic locations. Ernie's experienced in paranormal lecturing and group investigations, and he's also the lead investigator for his team. Dave has been investigating the paranormal for 4 years professionally and 5 years on his own. He's been a member of paranormal research of MD for 1 year, and he's traveled up and down the East Coast investigating commercial, residential, and historical locations. Dave has a 25-year IT background and is experienced in group investigations and is also the lead tech for the team.
Now I definitely know who to call when I need the tech
Yes.
problems resolved, like tonight. No, no. Hopefully, we don't have any tech problems tonight. He did teach me something about StreamYard, but we'll talk about that another time. All right. So here are our two guests, Ernie and Dave. Here we go. Hey, there they are, Christmas in a Cup. Hey, how you doing, gentlemen?
Hey, how y'all doing?
That was about the size of the cup, too. That was it.
Yeah.
I need a bar.
That's it. That's it. We won't drag on that though, because we know Carly's like enough already. That's enough. Enough of that.
It's like kicking a dead horse. It ain't going
Yeah,
nowhere.
it is kicking a dead horse. That's correct. Yeah, but it's
I
all
wasn't
good.
going
It's all-
anywhere either, just
yeah, it was.
that
It's all.
night.
We had a good
Oh,
time.
Lord. But yes.
We had a good time. So you guys, you've been at this for a long, long time too. Paranormal stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we actually have to update our profiles on because it's been
that's been a while.
it's
been a while.
That's a little outdated information.
so it's been longer than that.
Yeah, a little longer.
And I know somebody's recently done a TV show too. So
when we left our former team and started Paranormal Inc. solo project, that's when Dave put the bios up, and I've been asking him. I think I asked him a few times maybe to update it, but
like I got time.
yeah, I hear you. I mean, even I got to go in once a year. Once a year, I'll go in and update. I don't update it that often. Once a year, I try to go back in.
By decade or something like that.
Yeah,
annual.
Well, I know how busy Dave can get working from home. You know.
Yeah. My commute is really long down the steps.
Oh gosh, yeah. Lots of traffic.
I'll just say a quick hi out there to all our friends tuning in tonight. We got Bob Maloney. Hey, Bob Maloney. And Jody Nettles, Barry Martz, the same usual gang. Bob Burnell. We appreciate you all coming in. I know I saw Carl Mitchell out there too, Steve White. So you guys got any questions for these two crazy men tonight? Please ask them. They're not crazy. They're good guys. They're good.
Yeah, a little loony.
You gotta be a little.
That's right.
Gotta be a little crazy.
Yeah, if you're a ghost hunter, you got to be a little crazy.
Yeah, well, that goes without saying, doesn't it?
Yep.
Right? That's a given. When you're sitting in dark rooms at night asking questions to nothing that's there, or
and getting responses.
Hope is there. Yeah.
Paranormal or crazy.
Yeah. You never know. It could be somebody hiding in the shadows out there. You never know.
That's how I got Dave started in paranormal. Was when I met Dave. He was in a dark room, just sitting there talking to himself. And
No,
You saw
I
a
wasn't.
friend. You saw a friend in that. didn't you?
I was like, hey, man, we can put these skills to use. So,
Hey, it's not bad until you expect a response.
Yeah. Or it's really bad when you don't ask the question and get a response.
Yeah, there you go. There
Yeah,
you go.
exactly.
Ooh, that can be a problem, right? Yeah. Ooh. Craziness. So tell me a little bit. I mean, because you probably get this asked all the time, but I don't know your origin story. How'd you guys get into this? Start with Ernie. How'd you end up in the paranormal?
well,
I mean, you've probably been asked this a million times, but I'm just curious myself.
and actually, I'm glad you said that because I recently this week started working on the second half of my first book that I'm writing.
Oh, awesome.
And reason I started was when we do seminars or lectures, one of the first questions that the people always ask is, what made you guys do this? Or how'd you get started in this? But
Right.
this goes way back, Jack. I went to Catholic school growing up.
Yep. Me
And
too.
I always had this fascination with my religion and visiting spirits and stuff like that. And I was always researching that as a child. My mother would take me to the library on a Saturday, and I would sit there on the floor all day and just read. I was one of them nerd kids that read a lot. I still read a lot.
Right.
And it come to the point in my research where I had to start investigating. And I was by myself, So in 1999, I went on my first real investigation here in our home state of Maryland.
Cool.
So 2004, I was in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, with a good friend of mine, and we were on our motorcycles. And I had a bone-chilling experience. I wasn't even there for paranormal. We were there riding our bikes.
Yeah.
And so from about 2004 is when I stepped it up. A few years ago, Dave and I attend the same karate school, and we knew each other. And I had no clue he was into it. He had no clue I was into it.
Yeah.
And he come up to me just randomly one day and said that, hey.
Before we go there, we're both, I'm a former Anne Arundel County officer. He's current Tacoma Park police officer.
Oh, okay.
So
Awesome.
we became friends over police work.
Gotcha.
And my wife and I, now to go my backstory, I was born October 30th. I've always loved creepy and spooky. I was that guy who always went into those places you should know or should have had permission to.
Yeah.
And loved it. But my wife and I went down to New Orleans, and we had a couple really weird experiences down there. Like the day we were checking out, I'm laying in the bed, blinds open up, and I'm like, "Why'd you open the blinds?" And she goes, "I didn't." What? I was not a paranormal investigator at that point.
Yeah.
But so I had just been doing it on my own.
Right.
So I come back and I'm talking to my friend Ernie, a police officer. Dude, you're not going to believe this. So I actually got a picture of what looks like a hooded guy in a mirror looking around, and you could see him clear, but I had to take it as a telescopic shot in 3 series that you could actually link them together. There's nothing there that could have caused that.
Right.
The owner of the restaurant that I took it in asked me to send the picture to him because he showed me on the wall all the other pictures.
Oh, wow.
And it was really cool. So I brought it back. Dude, you're not going to believe this. And he goes, dude, I'm about to blow your mind. Okay.
We had no idea that each of us were into this. So he shows me this picture, and we discussed this picture, and I was like, I want to show you something. So one of the quick photos I had just had on my phone, I was at a location with Brian Cano, and I showed him a picture of me and Brian, and he was like, "Oh, that's and that's how it started." So at that point, like I said, I was still with my original team.
Right.
And we were holding interviews for an investigator. So we brought Dave on. About a year after that, Dave and I were talking to some constituents in the field. And I just decided, hey, I think I'm going to leave the team and try this solo thing.
Right.
And Dave, what Dave does, he's like,
if you're going solo, I'm going with you.
Yeah, because you're going to need all the technical help you can get. So we stepped away from the team, and
he's technically challenged. Oh my God.
We stepped away from our team in 2017 and started Paranormal Inc. And man, we've been
on fire since.
Been rolling ever since.
Yeah, hey, that's how it works. Sometimes you just got to click with the right person to move forward, so to speak.
It's amazing. I was taking my wife earlier today to pick her car up. It was in the shop, and we were talking about being, your show tonight, and she was just saying that because the lead investigator and founder of our former team, we just found out he passed away.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
And my wife and I were talking about that, and she was just telling me just like how things have lined up.
Yeah.
Concerning Dave and I.
Yeah.
And
it's been really bizarre how they've lined up.
It's so funny, guys. Like people that don't believe in fate or
karma.
My thing is, I always say that, God's plan is at the moment, he knows everything that's going on and we don't. And some things we're not supposed to know why at the time.
Right.
Or ask why. And then you see it starts to come full circle.
Right.
And, my wife and I were just reminiscing back about how Dave and I got started and where we're headed and all that good stuff. Yeah. And it's just crazy, man, how it all lined up.
Even as far as next week's show, we had a guest who actually canceled out on us. And then we found out that our former team lead, founder of the original group, passed. Right. And we're like, we kind of looked at each other at the same time, like, tribute show.
Yeah.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
And even like as far as our radio show, one day I was in line to go into a dance recital, and Dave calls me. He says, "Hey, Ted from Paratalk Radio is offering us a podcast." And I'm like, man, that's not what we do.
Like, dude.
Yeah, I was like, that's not what we do. So I told Dave, I said, "Look, man, I have no issue if you want to do it." I said, but just go ahead and do it. Do it by yourself, and just make sure you mention Paranormal Inc. a lot.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And Dave, being
I
loyal,
twisted his arm.
Being loyal, Dave said, "Well, if you ain't going to do it, I ain't going to do it."
Yeah.
But I knew he wanted to, so I said, "What the hell? Let's try it." And
and it's been great ever since.
Yeah, so
there you go. Hey, that's how it does. But I always do believe, that. The Lord takes you on a path, okay? Yeah. You start off, you have to learn different things before you can get to a certain point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So all these things that you've done in your past, all these getting involved with another team first, and then just suddenly, you end up being friends and you're meeting with each other. You just still don't even know that you're both in the paranormal. And then that leads to that. That's a process. That's something that's set up, I think, ahead of time. You can call it fate. You can call it, clandestine.
You want to hear something really crazy, though? Being a police officer and Ernie being a police officer, we actually used to run literally in the same circles. He actually is really good friends and grew up with my first girlfriend. I never met him that way. We actually worked at the same location in Baltimore, opposite shifts. We were literally just missing each other literally for 10, 15 years.
Yeah. So you weren't meant to, it wasn't meant for you guys to meet up yet.
Right.
Yeah. But there's a reason for that.
Exactly. And it parallels so much. We've actually sat and discussed it in length where we've been. And we're like literally like this. And finally I just met.
Yeah. And you were both on the same. You were both following the same path, so to speak. But you weren't. Each had to kind of find your own way. Each had to have your own experiences and learn your own different things. That's why hey, Dave, you're the tech guy, right? I mean, you know all that stuff because of how your path led you.
Yep.
So now the two and Ernie, you know all your stuff. I mean, you're doing all your things, and that's why the two of you finally came together. It's like, okay, it's time. Let's have them meet.
Well, I tell everybody he's the researcher. I'm the investigator. He does all the backgrounding. I go along for the investigation, and then I do the tech part afterward. Right. So, and I like doing it.
Right. But you have all those skills, is my point. You've learned a set of skills. Ernie's learned a set of skills, and put both of them together.
And I think what
you take off.
I think what brought a lot of attention to Dave and I is our personalities are like completely different. I mean, We are total.
He's
I
too
mean,
goofy.
we're the same in a sense, but we're completely opposite.
Yeah.
So like when you put it together, it's all some. I don't know, man, but it just we
Well,
click.
you compliment each other.
You're
That's-
yin and yang.
I
Yin
tell
and yang,
people
that's
it's Laurel and Hardy. You got to have a good stick man and a good cut-up guy.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. A straight man and a
so
cut up
much.
guy. Yep. That's it. But it is. She's right. It's the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you
And I
compliment each
actually
other.
right. Wait a minute, wrong arm. There you go, right
You got
there.
the one. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, if you
There
guys are literally exactly the same, both of your like your little idioms that you don't like about each other would irritate the heck out of each other. So, you know,
Yeah.
No, he's my
so
he's
it's,
my
it's
future
better the
ex-wife.
opposites
He's
attract.
your future ex-wife. Yeah. Or you're his, one or the other. I don't know. We don't know. One or the other. That's awesome. But that's why you guys are moving so much forward into what you kind of love to do right now.
Amen.
Yeah,
Amen.
it's an absolute. I mean, you guys know this better than anyone.
passion.
Everybody watching. I mean, it's
Yeah.
to do what we all do. I mean, it's just an absolute passion.
Yeah, you
And
got to have passion for it.
that's got
Absolutely.
the radio shows, the TV shows, and that's all fun. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's the passion of what we all do that keeps us moving forward.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Right. And as you know, with our show, what we do here, we do a Q&A. So we get people ask us questions and stuff like that. And with that, there is a question out there for you guys right now from Steve White.
Right.
And his question is, while you guys were working together for law enforcement, did you ever respond to a call that may have been paranormal? That's his
Yes.
What I can tell you is,
Oh, was this on your show? You did?
watch season 3 of Haunted Hospital.
Yeah, you can't tell too much. He's right. You can't tell too
Yeah.
much.
But in all seriousness, I can recount 1, 2, I think 3 calls. 3 or 4 calls that I've responded to, and in my mind, as well as other officers, they believe it was paranormal. So do I. And the funny thing is, people that ever been to one, our seminars. You all know we're best friends with Mike King from Ghost of Shepherdstown, who's also a current police officer. He's a chief.
Yeah.
And Mike and he used to be in K9 and I used to be in K9.
Yep.
And we had this is separate departments now, but Mike and I both had an experience involving our dogs, and they were almost exactly the same. Wow. The story, Yeah. But I mean, that I have had paranormal experiences. It's actually funny. Some of the other cops I work with are terrified of this stuff. And when the call goes out, everyone hears it.
Right.
And then when the officer will get there, they'll call on the radio like, "Hey, are you in the area?" I'm like, well, I'm on the other side of town, but I'll start that way because I already know, and I get there and they'll all be standing outside the house. So
mine was way before I was a paranormal investigator. We got a call that basically the guy had left his house. He had locked it up. He had left all the lights off, etc. We get there and there's lights on in the house, and he's like freaking out. So we check the exterior. It's still locked up. So we have him unlock it. And as me and my partner were going through the house, you could hear footsteps walking around, and we're both going. So we'd walk upstairs, coming around corners, check in. Nothing, but you'd hear it run down the steps.
Right.
So we come back downstairs, and it's just him and I in the house. We went up and down the steps probably 3 or 4 times, chasing whatever it was, and we finally looked at each other and went, "House is clear." And we didn't say the word paranormal at the time, but we kind of looked at each other like, "Yeah, I didn't see anybody. Did you see anybody? I didn't see anybody. Okay, let's go."
All right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is a funny thing, though. A lot of people, freak out at this stuff. Do you find with the paranormal stuff that can't be explained? Do you find you guys really don't anymore?
I actually,
sometimes it's still kind of
all right.
Go, what the heck was that?
I almost broke his nose one time. So,
oh no!
Let me define this.
Hey, Carly, you're getting ready to get your revenge. For us teasing you the other night.
The 2 rules we tell people. We used to tell people the main rule is if you hear something, feel something, something touches you, don't run. Just let us know.
Yeah.
We were at Haldeman Mansion. We were the prize for a radio contest that had happened. A real paranormal investigation with Ernie and Dave.
Right.
All right. So Ernie's directly in front of me, maybe 3 feet. The equipment's in front of us. Mm-hmm. We have radio contestants on the right, on the left, producers, DJs in the room.
Right.
Now, Haldeman Mansion is a very old mansion and is made of solid plaster. So those are the wood slats with the plaster in it with mud over it.
Right.
They are solid rolls.
Yep.
So behind me, I hear, turn around, nothing there. So we're going back to the investigation, and we're having a little bit of activity, and then you'll hear behind you. Nothing.
You like his reenactments as he's telling us?
I do. I like it. Actually, I like it. He's a hands-con guy.
I am. I'll go mute every time I hand
I am kind of too. So I get that. I totally get that.
Then you hear pebbles drop right behind you, and I'm again by the fourth or fifth time of this, I finally turn around. What the hell's going on? Just as I turn my light off and I put it back in the holster. Now, there's another young lady there. Her name's Christina. She grabs my arm because she's getting a little bit paranoid. Now I'm in an archway. Her friend grabs hold of her. It sounded like the only way to describe it is like somebody dove their whole body, 300 pounds, into the wall right next to me. Boom! Now, everybody in the room went that way, except Ernie, who went, because I hit him like a freight train dead on.
Oh.
My forehead went right into his beak.
Oh.
Now, we're all in this corner of the room, and he's in the middle of the room going.
You have to keep in mind when
Just
this
knocked him out, basically. Yeah.
When this, to me, it was like a sonic boom.
It was loud.
I seen Dave coming, and I stood in because we had equipment on the floor. I stood in the dark. I don't know why, but to block the equipment from him running over it. Yeah. Now Dave's 6'6". I'm 5'8".
I'm 300 pounds. Okay.
I sit in an elevated chair so that we're even.
Yeah.
But when Dave ran at me, he was head down, and just as he brought his head up, he caught me right under my nose.
I was dragging Christina and her friend with me,
and
I was like, "God!" And I just went that instinct. Now he's literally, you can see the birds going around his head. Okay.
Ernie, you were left to be ghost fodder.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
leave one guy behind for it to take care of him.
I went on this man's back.
Take him out.
So we ended up, once we got him straight, we actually went into the room, and the equipment went nuts that night. It was great, especially for the guests. It was great.
Oh, that's great.
But the next day we had another investigation at the Haunted Trails in Gettysburg. He rolls up in his car, and he has these big old Stevie Wonder glasses on. And then I'm like, Ernie, what's up with the glasses, man? He goes,
look like a raccoon.
Black guy. The rest of the night, the joke was, Ernie, what happened to you? Dave Pimp slapped me.
For all intents and purposes.
I can honestly tell you, man, when he ran into me,
yeah. You saw stars, man.
He lifted me off my feet. Seriously. It was like I went into the wall. Yeah. I thought he broke my nose.
That's like getting run over by a football player.
Yeah, it was.
I hit him
like with the height difference. That's like, well, if it makes you feel any better, I got tackled through foam bricks and punched into a metal sheet wall and hurt my shoulder real bad.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my Lord.
I didn't do that. I wasn't around when that happened. No,
and try explaining that to the doctor. They're like, "Are you safe at home?" I'm like, "Yes." They were like, "What were you doing?" I'm like, and I'm not gonna say I was LARPing because that's like.
She was LARPing. Yes.
I was playing football with the guys, and they were like.
Carly, was any as far as the LARPing? Was there any chocolate syrup and peppermint schnapps involved, or?
Afterwards, yeah.
You needed it after for the shoulder.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I know how you feel.
Oh, my Lord.
Oh, God. I'm going to be careful if I investigate you. I can tell you that. I'm going to stay the opposite side of the room from you. That way I won't get
I'm going to have to start wearing a helmet and protective goggles.
Well, we change the rules now. When we tell people, we're like, there are 2 rules now. Rule number 1, if you feel something, hear something, let us know. Don't run. Rule number 2: unless your name is Dave, stay the hell out of my way.
Yeah, that's right.
You know
if you
what
get
it is,
scared,
though?
just hit Dave or hit Ernie.
I gotta defend Dave. It's not that he's scared of the that he's scared of the paranormal. It's just Dave is
startled.
Dave is like a Mexican jumping bean. I mean, this guy is 100 miles an hour all the time, and I'm kind of like the exact opposite. I'm more like laid back, monotone.
Yep.
And when something startles you, man, he just I can't explain it, but
yeah. Well, you can Dave, we could see your energy. We could see like that's what you would do. You know,
yeah.
Me, I'd be like, if it happened behind me, I'd be like, what the hell was that?
But I
had things like that happen to me. As a matter of fact, it was one investigation. It turned out to be something actually demonic. But we didn't know it at the time. But I'm sitting on a stairway, and there's a doorway behind me that led into the master bedroom or something. And I put some equipment in there, and I'm like, and the door was shut. I had the door shut, right? So I'm like, well, if you're in that room behind us or whatever, bang on the door, or do something. And I was looking the other direction, though, right? I was looking down the other hallway because it's a set of stairs. There's a doorway to the room, and then you look down the far end. There's a hallway down to the other bedroom, and the door opened and slammed behind me. Oh. And I'm like, what the? But the girl's like, you didn't run? I said, no, just kind of startled me. I wouldn't have expected a door to slam behind me, So when I opened the door, I was just very careful because I'm like looking to see if there's like a shadow figure on the other side. But the devices in that room were going off though. So when I opened the door, it's like, holy crap. Yeah, okay. So
the one good advantage though to Dave being high strung and hyper and energetic, it always helps. Like when we host a public investigation or whatever, I mean, his energy seems to ramp things up.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Well, you're putting out all that energy, so something's going to feed off of that, right? Yeah. So, and then maybe even attracted to it because it's attracted to the high energy, right? Rather than like Ernie, the low energy you and I have. I was like, they're too relaxed. They don't want. They got nothing.
I met Amy Allen at the Unity Expo in Jersey one time, and I was talking to her, and she said she was talking about my aura. Now I don't know crap about auras, but she says be very careful. I have a blue aura, and that's very attractive to spirits because of my energy.
That makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
Make sure that you always bless in, bless out, pray in, pray out. Make sure that you say, "Don't follow me home." So.
Right. And also with practice and meditation, you can focus on that aura you're giving out and bring it in. You can lower it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's another way you can do that just by meditating and on it and thinking about just envisioning yourself in your own aura and just envisioning you bringing that in to dim it down.
Okay.
And if you do that, it can either lower activity if you need to, or you can expand it out and raise activity. It's kind of like you're opening yourself up or closing yourself off. Okay. So you can do that at times when you need to. I try to go in these days just completely open because I can shut it off like that if I need to.
I can't figure that out. So
it takes time. You gotta kind of, like I said, you meditate. You close your eyes, you envision it, and you meditate on it, and just keep practicing that, so that when you're on an investigation, eventually you can just think it, and it'll happen.
So I have a question for Dave. Have you found that things tend to happen around you when you get really emotional?
I do, and that's. I don't know if you were keeping track of what was going on here. I'm having some things going on in my life that I really don't talk about that much.
Right, you told us.
Yeah. So I had some really weird things going on here, including cabinets opening, and voices, things like that. I mean, just weird things. Now, the interesting part is Ernie and I kind of sat down and did an impromptu investigation. We can't post the results yet because of the private things that are going on in life. But we figured out it was my grandmother, and my grandmother really does not like somebody in my life. really does not like somebody in my life.
It's not me. It's not me.
But
yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, it does make, because they're your family, right?
If anything, you
going
probably
through
should,
something
you probably
and
feel
the
bad for
person
you.
is negative towards you, then they're, of course, they're gonna not like.
And once we started talking to her, and he said, "Look, we've got Dave's back. There's a whole bunch of people who love him. We're not going to let anything happen to him." It stopped. So I've heard a few knocks since, and my daughter actually, when a little bit earlier, we heard somebody talking, even though the TV was off. You could hear them whispering. But my daughter, who's 14, who's upstairs, actually heard this whistling a few months ago, and she popped out of her room going, "Dad, stop!" I'm like, "Stop what?" And she goes, "You're whistling," and I'm like, "I'm not whistling." And she goes, "I can hear you." Wait a minute, you're not whistling.
Yeah, you can't talk and whistle at the same time.
Yeah, that's a problem. And so I said, "Do you still hear it?" She's like, "Yeah." And so I said, "Find it." So she starts wandering around and literally wandering around upstairs. And she goes, "It keeps moving." I'm like, "Well, plant your feet, listen to the song. It's trying to tell you something." So she starts whistling the song out loud to the point where she actually whistled a song from 1942 that was actually my grandmother and grandfather's song.
Oh.
And it's actually on their tombstone.
Wow.
And there's no way she could have known that because she's never seen the tombstone.
Right. But you would know that.
Exactly.
So that was the message to you. That I'm here. We're here for you. This is who we are.
I'm like, oh my God. Yeah.
When he started having activity here, I mean, I was putting some thought into it, trying to figure out, so we, like Dave said, we decided to do just like a 45-minute investigation. And I told him ahead of time, I think I figured this out. And like Dave said, once we gave acknowledgement, or said, "Hey, we got it from here," it was like a whole different mood at that exact moment. Right. But the funny thing, I was at Fort Mifflin a month or two ago, and I was asked to come to an event, and I was up there, and a friend of mine, Michelle DeMaio from New Jersey Paranormal Investigations.
Right.
We were walking through like the field or whatever. And I said, "Hey, I'm going to give Dave a call." So I put him on video call. Now, when he answers his phone, he's standing in the kitchen, and we're talking, and I heard a woman in the background talking, and I said, "Dave, who's there?" Because I knew his daughter didn't come till the next night. I said, "Who's there?" And he's like, Nobody. I'm by myself." And I was like, "All right, well, I didn't think much more about it." Then Michelle's like, says to me, "You hear a woman talking." And I said, "Dave, we both can hear her."
Yeah.
Well, Dave had to take his phone through the entire house, and he's looking under the bed and in the closet. Look, there's no one here, Ernie. Well, he goes back to the kitchen where he originally answered the phone, and the cabinet door was open. He didn't know it, and I'm like,
because I was like this, and I'm like, I told you,
walk right past it, right?
He's like, "Dave, look behind you," like, and the cabinet door had opened.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We actually had we put a camera upstairs when we did. We were right here in the studio, and my kitchen's right above us. We put a camera towards it, and right before the show, I came down, got everything set up. He went up, looked to make sure everything's closed, turned around, walked to hit the camera button, turned it on, and came down. So during the show, all of a sudden it sounded like somebody kicked my front door in.
Huh.
And I was like, "What the was that?" And I went running off the show to see what's up. Nothing. There was nothing that fell, nothing that banged, nothing that was there, except when I got in the kitchen, all the cabinet doors were open. And I'm like, "Ernie, cabinet doors are open." You hear me on the video. We went and checked the video that he was taking, pointing into the kitchen. Apparently, before he even hit the record button, all the cabinet doors open.
I set my camera down, and I walked away. I didn't hit record. I set the camera down, and I walked into the kitchen.
Yeah.
I looked around the kitchen. From the time I turned my back on the kitchen to walk 5 feet to turn my camera on, they had opened without me knowing.
Yeah.
So as soon as I hit record, I came down the steps, and they were all right. So
I had the same thing happen to me years ago when I was investigating. Not really investigating. I was just messing around at my mother's old house. My aunt had just recently died, and they had to settle some things. And so I was bored, so I went upstairs and she told me about there's one door up there that will always stay open. It won't stay closed, even though it latches. Right. So I started messing around with that, and I had the same thing happen. Like the fourth time, well, actually every time I would close the door and say, okay, if you're around here, open it. By the time I turned my back on it and turned back around, it had opened.
Nice.
Like that, like, and you didn't even hear it. Usually you didn't hear it. The last time I actually heard it, I literally turned around and I hear it click. And I turn around, it's like, son of a bit. I'm like, and it was wide open. It would keep opening a little bit more each time, but that last time it opened wide open. I'm like, okay, you don't like the door closed. Okay, that's fine.
I love that.
Well, that actually
was
happened
before I was even really investigating. I mean, that was back in my 20s.
Well, that actually happened at the Lookout House. So I think it was the first night we were there.
First night.
Ellen McNeil was with us. She had gone to bed and she was upstairs, and she went into the room where they said the spirits don't like the door closed. Right. So she had closed the door while she was sleeping. And we were like walking up and down the stairs, and we had thought that Ellen kept opening the door to get up and go to the bathroom. So we kept closing it for her because we were like, oh, we don't want to wake her up. And so we were like, we just decided to leave it open, but I forget what ended up happening.
I got up, and it was actually the last time I got up, which is right after hearing the footsteps. I got up because I had to use the restroom myself. It was about 3 a.m. I had woken up, and I hear these footsteps coming across the attic, down the stairway into our room, and through the room, and stopped right next to me by the bed. And I'm like, you're kidding me, right?
Jack Leeper and Ernie had the same experience.
Yeah, I do believe that residual. But I get up and I go out, and I see her door is closed. I go use the bathroom. I come back out. The door is open again.
Yeah, we were up there.
So one last time I said, well, this is what I did. One last time I said, look, Ellen's sleeping in here. Can you please leave the door closed for her for the rest of the night? And I close the door. I get up the next morning. Door is still shut.
We were up there, or I don't know. Well, you were there too. We
in the bedroom.
Yeah, we were
in the Americana room. Were you in the Americana room?
Yeah. We were doing an event with Jeff, and I believe was it Lori?
Lori was there.
Lori Johnson. And anyway, we were experiencing that too. Same room.
Yep. Yeah. I believe that's a residual, because what I heard, it's carpeted in there, but I could still hear like boot steps on the wooden floor in that room, which tells me, okay, it's probably residual, because it had no interaction any other way. But it was funny. What time did that happen to you? It was like 3 a.m. when it happened to me.
This was early in
8
the
o'clock.
Early in the evening, like soon as maybe 8, 9 o'clock.
We hadn't even started yet. We were just goofing around doing a preliminary.
Yeah. Well, Carly heard footsteps up there while Ellen and I were doing a radio show.
They were doing the radio show, and I was sitting there listening, and I'm hearing footsteps upstairs. So I'm literally like, as we're doing the radio show, like, oh my gosh, that's cool.
You were saying that on our show.
Right. I threw this up because Christine Lantis says she's like hearing whispering. But I don't know if that's just background.
Is it from our side, or from Jack's side, or from Carly's side?
That's a good question.
Now,
Christina, if you heard that, let us know where it's coming from. And I got one other thing for you guys. Hang on. I got one other thing. Because here's a question for you from Barry Martz. Have you guys investigated the Antietam battlefield Civil War? If so, which of the battlefields have more prevalent paranormal activity?
I have to go through the evidence from Antietam. I was there, my friend Larry and I.
Yeah.
On our motorcycles, I do have evidence from there. I don't recall exactly what it is right now. I'd have to look back because it was so many years ago. Right. I don't want to put out any false, but yes, I have been there, and yes, had experiences there. And real quick, before your show started, I went upstairs to get a drink. Dave's daughter said, "Was you just up here I was like, I was up here about 10 minutes ago. And she goes, like, no, like right now.
Ah.
Said, no, why? She goes, I was in the bathroom. I had the door shut and I heard somebody walking down the hallway to the bathroom. She said, I thought it was you. And they went like this lightly and knocked on the door. She goes, thought it was you, trying to scare me or whatever. I said, no, we were actually downstairs talking to you guys prior.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, you obviously have some activity.
Brought it back.
Yeah, you have some activity going on. Obviously, it's nothing really you got to worry about. So, and I would, as you always, guys, I mean, you're investigators, everything else, but I always tell people, really don't investigate your house because you live there.
That's what I kept telling him, and I didn't want to do it.
But as long as, if Ernie's kind of doing it to try to help figure out things for you, remember, it's always about intent, right?
Right.
So if Ernie's trying to do it to try to help you and you're not doing it yourself, you're probably okay. Just, don't get too caught up in it. I think you got your answer to who's there and what's going on now. And you can talk to your grandparents and say, hey, I get it. It's okay. I appreciate that you're here. Just you're freaking my daughter out a little bit. I want to calm it down a little bit.
They're not freaking her out. That's not who's getting freaked out.
Why are you getting freaked out? It's your grandparents.
I honestly, I talk to them. I'm like, when I hear the tapping, I'm like, all right, I hear you in there. Thank you. I love you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And they love my kitchen
that's
for some
sweet.
reason. They love tapping on my kitchen. We still can't tell what they're tapping, but we can hear them.
Well, did either one of them spend a lot of time in the kitchen?
Neither one of them were alive when I moved into this house.
No, I mean in their own kitchen.
Oh, my grandmother lived in the kitchen.
Oh, well, that's probably.
Oh, yeah, she lived.
She likes a kitchen. You know what I'm saying? That's her home turf.
She would kind of hit your hand with a spoon and go, get out of my kitchen. She was that woman with an apron. She was a housewife.
But see, that's that completely coincides with what I said. Is when we investigated briefly here, once we gave acknowledgement or security that it stopped. And all along, like based on what Jack just said, that's how your grandmother was trying to let you know it's her.
Right. And
maybe
there's a lot of activity in the kitchen. If the kitchen was her domain, she's going to kind of hang out there.
Our lights just flickered. Our lights.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Flicked on.
See, we're talking about her. That's why.
Yep.
Hey, stop talking about me.
Yep. That's my grandma.
Sorry, Grandma.
And she would always want to turn the lights out. You cannot leave a light on this. Trust me, you cannot leave a light on this. Hey, did it again?
No. I mean, it flicked when I. Did you see it?
Yeah. I saw the flick.
Yeah. Was that your grandfather always turning the lights out?
Right, because my grandfather grew up. My grandmother was born in. Our grandfather was born in 1900. Grandmother 1901.
Yeah.
And they passed in 2000 and 2001 respectively.
Don't waste the electricity.
Yeah, exactly. And they were, my grandfather, worked his way up.
The bill.
And, he was very adamant. Turn the light out when you leave.
Hey, that's his end of it. See? No lights out. That's why you can't.
Don't forget to mention me.
Lights on right now, which is probably driving him nuts.
Yeah.
Grandpa, we're doing a show. We need the lights right now. Leave them alone.
Carly's, yours just flickered.
I noticed that before.
That's
the second time.
Your light just flickered.
That was the second time. Yours. I thought.
Is that her computer that's flickering maybe, or because you've got those other lights on behind you, don't you?
No, I don't. I just had the LED strip.
Right there.
Yeah,
right there.
Oh, I think that's just her computer screen.
Oh yeah,
I think what you're getting is when she moves,
right?
It changes a bit.
All right, there you go.
That's just
all right, fair enough.
Yeah, because Dave, he keeps these damn.
See, we debunked that. We debunked it. We just now debunked something on our own paranormal Q&A.
Dave keeps these lights on us, man. I feel like I'm here getting a suntan every Sunday night.
I have real studio lights on both sides of us.
Yeah.
So to keep it, light up so we don't wash out.
If I start turning red, it's not my blood pressure. It's just these damn lights are starting to burn my head.
Okay.
Down too. Okay.
So Clortho says he also hears whispering coming out there too, but
I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, because there's no.
Yeah, I don't hear it.
Dave's.
I don't hear it either. So that's interesting that they're hearing something.
Yeah. Well,
we'll have to listen back and see.
She's upstairs in her bedroom.
Yeah, there's nothing. We have nothing on. Nothing.
Right. We don't either. There's nothing going on here. Nothing in the background. No TVs. No nothing. So, it looks like I popped this up. What do you say? Dave and Ernie, if you see Jack's door move, say nothing hits the cat. Yes, right.
It is. Yeah.
The cat's outside right now, so
Oh
one
my
of the
God.
cats is anyway.
Oh
Yeah,
my
we,
God.
the other cat's
we
in
had
there.
some people freaking out one night because they see my door moving behind me, right? Because the door coming into the room.
Oh,
I was like, Jack, your door is moving. I said, no, it's just a cat. You just can't see me. He's on the floor.
that's funny. Oh my God. That's
Tell
funny.
him, hey, when Dave and I first hooked up, in the paranormal together. I took him to the Haldeman Mansion with a few of his friends.
Oh my
So just quickly, we will be there October 3rd. We're doing an event with Melissa and Jerry there. So we will be there October 3rd for our own event. And if anybody wants to come out, come see us. Go ahead, Ernie.
But I took Dave and a few of his
my
friends.
first time with an official ghost hunt. This is my first official doing a real ghost hunt, not just me playing around with it.
So we were at Haldeman. I said, all right, man, we'll go. I'll take you and a few friends up there because Dave and I were going to start working together.
Right.
And it was just us.
Yep.
So we're sitting at the table. It was when Laura was still the coordinator. And tell them
Oh, my Lord. All right. So I brought a whole bunch of friends with me. Now, during the evening, we had some really cool experiences. But literally at the start of it, Laura sits down, gives us the history of the mansion. She pulls out one of her crystals and shows how that works. And we're in the dark. And all of a sudden I thought it was somebody screwing around with me.
Right.
I'm like, all right, whatever. And so I go back listening to her. And all of a sudden I'm like, really? and Laura looks at me and goes, is somebody touching your hair? And I said, yeah, it feels like somebody brushed in the back of my head. And she goes, most likely that's Mrs. Haldeman. She doesn't understand why your hair is so short because I actually had it shorter than this.
Oh.
Okay, fair enough. So I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, right up my leg, it just goes up my leg. The noise I made, Ernie should have learned right there and then what's going to happen because I screamed. And I jumped up. Okay? I hit the flashlight like WTF. And her dog's sitting there like, did I do something?
it was Laura's dog rubbing up on his leg.
Sniffing my leg. Oh my God, the noise I made, even the guys like just went scatter, because I jumped up like, it went right up my leg.
Damn dog.
Oh
my gosh.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Yeah, you never know. You never know what's going to happen at these places.
No, when you feel something wet, cold, up your leg, and not down your leg, up your leg.
Up your leg, yeah.
I made a noise, or three.
Ghost getting fresh with you. That's all.
And then I went out and changed my short.
Dog got fresh with you.
Woohoo! Where's the dog's nose and why is Dave smiling?
Just keep smiling and nodding.
Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
Yeah, oh my God. That's hilarious. You never know. Yeah, that stuff happens all the time, right? I mean, you think it's paranormal, it's not. It drives you up the wall.
Oh, speaking of
hilarious.
that,
it's hilarious.
The other day, was in the office. I think I was like petting. No, I was on my Nintendo Switch, and right behind Jack there's a little bed, and my Nintendo Switch is hooked up to the TV there. And so, imagine this is the door frame, right?
All right.
It's a very cute door frame. So, I see out of the corner of my eye these fingers come around the doorway like this. I almost fell off the bed. I jumped so high and so hard and he's such a jerk. He does that all the time.
At least put a black glove on.
I tell you what.
Longer finger. I need fake long fingernails and like
I wouldn't suggest doing this, but I guess 20 some years ago it was funny. Around Halloween, my wife and I used to have this thing with trying to scare each other. Mm-hmm. So me working midnight shift, I decided to, because I knew my wife would come down in the middle of the night and either get like a snack or something to drink.
Right.
So what I did was I left work. I took a half a day and didn't tell her. So I came home in the middle of the night and snuck in the basement.
Good way to get shot.
especially in a cop's house.
I snuck in the basement door and I snuck up the steps. And the house we had at the time, there was a wall between the living room and dining room. And I laid on the floor behind the wall.
Oh, no.
And I must have laid there 2 hours.
Oh, my God.
Well, sure enough, she come down to get a cup of coffee.
Oh, my God.
When she took that first step into the room, I went and grabbed her calf.
Oh, no.
I grabbed her calf. All I know is she screamed. The coffee cup went up in the air and back down on top of me. I mean, it was worth it, man. It was priceless. But now that I think back, I'm like, man, I could have she could have shot me or something. She knew I was there the whole time and come back. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
oops,
it was
that's
fun.
funny.
It was
oh
fun.
my God.
Oh my God.
Jack?
What?
No.
I don't know.
Jack,
She said no.
however you get her, Jack, make sure you video it and send it to us so we can put it on our next episode.
I will do that. I will do that.
Man.
No. Oh my God. No.
Should send
That
the
would be
video
really
where
paranoid.
yeah, well, I don't know if you guys saw. We did do a kind of a funny video where she popped out of a box one time.
Oh
that's
my
true.
God. That's funny.
Yeah, he shipped me because
I
he got
shipped her out. I said I
came from.
shipped her. I said Carly's not around. I shipped her to get rid of her. I'm trying to get rid of her. I shipped her out. I said, but this box came for me today. I don't remember ordering anything. It was pretty big box from Amazon. She actually fit in the box. She popped out of it. That is on our Facebook page somewhere.
Yes. I returned to Sunday.
People were like, "How did she fit in that box?" I was like,
Wow.
And I always told people I can fit in luggage.
she
Like
can.
it is
Origami.
possible. So
I can save an airplane ticket.
There you go.
you don't have to pay for the
And she's
weight.
about
but-
as heavy as a big piece of luggage would be.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
That's-
my
I
goodness.
can be a carry-on. Just shove me in the upper compartment. I'll be fine.
probably could. Yeah.
Mm.
Just have somebody help me pick it up. And put it in.
But oh my gosh, this is not gonna be.
Yeah,
fun.
with this one, it's so heavy.
You have no idea. Like so, the April Fool's Day came around, right? This guy forgot about it. I
I
didn't.
did actually, literally did. I forgot
So-
about April Fool's Day.
I was going around every doorway, like peeking around. And so it got to the point where it was like later in the afternoon, and I'm super paranoid at this point because he hasn't done anything, and I'm like expecting everything. And so I come into the bedroom and I peek around the doorway and he's not there. Well, he sneezes in the other room. And I nearly peed myself because and all he did was sneeze.
Oh, it was Steve's. And that which was actually made for the best April Fool's Day ever because I didn't have to do anything. She was freaking herself out.
So he does it all the time. So there's no need to grab my leg when I'm coming down the basement stairs or anything like that because that's not.
A few years ago, I have in my basement, I have a real big drum set. And a few years ago, I came home in the middle. This was planned. I was just coming home. It was the middle of the night. So I was going down the basement for something. Well, my wife had decorated a little bit for Halloween while I was gone. When I go down the basement and I turn the light, like once I get down there, I hit a button and, the lights come on. She, what you call, like, you stuff a dummy for Halloween.
Yeah.
It's standing behind my drum set. And I'm like, she's not in bed. That's her dumb ass dressed up, standing there still. So I think it's a dummy. So I'm doing what I'm doing, acting like I'm not paying attention to it. Yeah. So finally, like, I get the courage to go over. Because even though I knew, like, it was going to scare me, you know what I mean? It was still going to startle me. So I kind of, like, walk over to the dummy, and I'm kind of, like, ignoring it. And I'm like, and it was actually really a dummy. She just, I just thought it was her standing there.
That's awesome. It's awesome when you can scare somebody without even trying to. And you don't even know you're doing it.
Yeah.
You don't even know you're doing it. That's the awesome times.
People that, in SOS Paranormal, her name's Callista. We love her to death. Her nickname's Fainting Goat.
I love Callie.
Callie is awesome. Her nickname is Fainting Goat. There's a reason why.
Oh.
Go behind her
Oh,
and
no.
scream and watch what happens. Ah! We've been to so many places at this point where we'll just sneak up behind her and go, ah! And she's like, ah!
Yep. Yeah.
She's sitting on one of the benches at the haunted trails, and somebody walked up behind her with a stick and went underneath the bench. She's in front of the campfire. People had to grab her. She started to fall and like literally yanked her back. Like, oh my God, she's gonna burn. She's just like,
oh, poor Callie.
we love her to death.
That's awesome.
Oh my God.
Oh,
We lost Ernie. He ghosted us.
Yeah, I know.
he ghosted.
You gotta wonder. So, with it's funny because people who can be like that love the paranormal though too.
Yeah.
You
But
gotta.
they still do it. I give them a lot of credit because they still do it, even though it scares the living bejesus out of them. You know.
It's that adrenaline rush, man. You gotta have.
Yeah, but they still do it. Still do it.
At least you get to share it with Ernie by the oncoming
Yeah, well, he
tackle.
wanted to stay off center of me at this point.
He's not scared of the paranormal. He's scared of the effect of the paranormal
The
on
effect,
Dave.
the aftermath of Dave.
Aftermath.
I'm scared of getting hurt.
Yeah, that's why. That's it. That's
Dave's
it.
a big guy compared to me.
Yeah.
I'm only 300 pounds.
So let me ask you this. Let's hope I phrase this right. Have you ever had something paranormal happen that at the time you didn't think it was paranormal? That you just kind of ignored?
I would say yes. That the same call I was discussing earlier, we didn't really call it paranormal. I didn't really think. I wasn't thinking about paranormal then.
Right.
But looking back, that when the lights literally came on in the house through the entire house, including downstairs,
right,
and you could hear whatever it was running throughout the entire house.
Yeah.
And as we went up this way, you could hear it run down, and then it would go down the back steps, and we would literally do this. So we actually split up, and I went up as my partner went down, and we were trying to catch it in the middle.
Right.
We thought somebody was running around the house.
Right.
And that's where we met at the top of the steps, and then I was like, "Do you see anything? Nope. Do you see anything? Nope. We're done. Bye."
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if this will answer your question, but
I'll tell you about something that happened to me, and I'll go ahead.
About a week or two ago, every now and then, I mean, you guys have heard me say this before. Every few months, a little something will happen in my house just to get my attention.
Right.
Nothing major, nothing malevolent. So the other night, it was about 2 a.m. Because even when I'm off work, I'm up all night. So my wife's all the way upstairs asleep, and I'm in the basement watching a Christmas movie. So I hear all this commotion upstairs, and I'm like, she must be carrying on with the dog, you know?
Right.
So eventually I went upstairs, and when I went all the way upstairs, it was dead silent. So I was like, all right, they must have stopped. So I went back down the basement. About 30 minutes later, she had come down to get something to drink or whatever. And she's like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. I'm sitting in the basement watching a movie. Why? She goes, was that you running up and down the steps? And I was like, no, so I originally thought it was her. She of course thought it was me.
Yeah.
And then eventually about an hour later went back to bed, and I stayed in the living room, and it started up again. But actually, since that 2 weeks, the activity kind of has increased a little bit in my house.
Okay.
She originally thought someone was outside on my roof.
Oh.
She said that's what it to her
Sounded like. Yeah.
It sounded like someone in the hallway, and then she said it sounded like someone on the roof.
Huh.
To me, it sounded like the dog diving like off the bed onto the. So who the hell?
Right.
And during that time, though, everything in my house had stopped. So I thought he had taken it home with him.
Maybe he had for a short period of time.
I think
You don't know. It could have happened. It actually could have happened. It actually could have
Well,
happened.
it sounds like he had a fiddler on the roof.
Fiddler on the
Watching
roof.
the Christmas movies.
Good movie, by the way.
I actually seen the play. You went and saw the.
Did you? I never got to see the play. I bet that was
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
I did have an investigation one time where, and this is why I asked that. It was a residential case, and we were upstairs in the I don't know what you call it, an attic or loft area anyway, and I hear this really loud voice. I couldn't tell what it said at the time, but it was like, "Roar!" It was so loud. I just thought it was one of my people downstairs. I said, "Hey, what do you want?" I leaned over the rails. What do you guys want? What? What do you want? Nothing. We didn't. I said, it had to be one of them. Not until I did the evidence review did I find out it was something paranormal. It was a guy saying, "I don't want you here."
Oh wow!
And it was but at the time you could hear it, but you couldn't quite make out what it was saying.
So you hit the
but
play?
yeah, I just brushed it off as it's nothing.
Oh my Lord!
Yeah.
Weird
Little things like that.
Here's something that you want to make sure to take a REM pod or a Mel meter with REM on it with you.
Yeah.
In the summer kitchen on the steps, you can put a motion sensor or a Mel or something that makes noise. Put it on the steps and walk away and just say out loud, "I put it on your steps. What are you going to do about it?"
Okay.
Watch what happens.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, we were there this year already, just to visit,
Yep.
And that's a pretty interesting place. Jerry, I think, was telling me that too. That hey, you can put something on here and they have activity. Like if you leave, they don't like it left on the stairs. I think you guys told us that the last week.
Yeah, they don't like that. Whoever they say it's a man, he doesn't like when you put things on the steps.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's interesting because I did put something on the steps when I was there and nothing happened.
Really?
Here's what we're doing. The next time that we're back,
we weren't there that long though, but
no.
The next time we're back at Haldeman, I'm going to give Dave a K2 meter, and he can have two of them, and I'm going to make him stand on the steps and hold them.
Yeah.
See what happens.
So he can feel what you felt.
It'll knock him down the stairs. Yeah.
So Dave, what's with the bats?
Yeah, there's a question for you. What about the bats?
Bats.
Melody Brown says, ask about the bats.
Oh my God! Hello, Mel.
What's up, Mel?
Oh my God,
Melody Gray.
Oh, we were. Oh my Lord.
That's on our YouTube channel. Isn't it?
It has.
It's on our YouTube.
Is
channel.
it?
So we were at the Center for Feebly Minded Women up in northern Pennsylvania. We were the first team.
That's actually the name of the place?
It is. Look it up. The Center for Feebly Minded Women.
Dave was trying to find a date.
I'm dying to find one. No. So we were with a whole bunch of friends there. We were investigating it because the bishop was trying to turn the center into a rehab center for men coming out of prison. So it was kind of learning new skills, carpentry, woodworking, metalwork, etc.
Yep.
And they kept having this activity. So they called Laura's team in. Laura called us. We actually called several of the teams in as well. And what happened was, and you can actually see the YouTube video, Anthony Holmes, love you. He was there with us. We were in there, and all of a sudden here, and it's completely dark where we are.
Right.
And it's like, and you hear.
Yeah, because you can't see the damn things.
You can't see it, and you hear somebody go, "What is that?" And you hear, "Is that a bat?" Now, what do? I hit my little spotlight on my head, looking around. What do bats do? Go for the light.
Light.
Oh my God! Again, the noise that came out of me. Now Anthony is filming this whole time. We're gonna watch that down the hallway. Okay. So, and they're kind of like. They went out. Everybody else went out that door except me. I went out that door, running down the hallway. And at the end of the video, you hear it still teasing me, and I'm going, "God damn it, leave me alone!"
Turn the light off.
I found it.
Did you?
I'm totally gonna watch. Yeah, I sent it to you.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, that's too funny.
That is too funny. That is way too funny.
Thanks, Mel. Love you, babe.
Oh,
hang on a second. Let's see if we can do something with this.
Oh, Lord.
Let's see if we can do something with this. Hang on.
Yay.
Oh, Lord.
Hang on. Let's see if I can share this up here now. Hang on. We're going to share this. We're going to share it. See if we can. All right. Yep, here it is. All right. So for everyone's edification, here is that video.
Oh, God.
You might want to take the red thing. It's 9 seconds in.
Not just actually started, so
Oh, okay.
as I paused it right at there. I don't know if anybody's got any sound. You guys got sound for that?
Yeah, we can hear it.
Okay.
There's the bat. See it go by? There it goes by again.
Yeah.
That's me to the left. Keep going. Keep going. It was still chasing me.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
I'm glad we
That's
found that.
funny.
Thanks for finding that, Carl. I'm glad we were able to put that up for you guys.
That was the
that's
first
hilarious.
thing on there. I was like, oh
Fortunately
yay.
for me, I wasn't there.
Yeah, he wasn't in.
I was actually in Jersey when they were there.
Because
So
if you were, you probably would have got hit by a
I'd have been the guy laying on the floor.
steam train. Yeah.
I exited stage left. Everybody else went stage right. And the damn thing just kept chasing me. I'm like, leave me alone.
Stay alone.
So
They liked you.
that is another thing I wanted to bring up because I saw.
Buzz you. And it's like, what was that? And I hit the light like, what was that? And it came literally like that in my face.
Them bats. I tell you, that's true though with bats. Because not long ago, I take at the top of my street is a school.
Yeah.
And behind the school, they left, even though they remodeled it, they left the asphalt road. So you got the school and then woods.
Right.
And it's this asphalt road. So in the middle of the night, me and my dog Stewie go up there and play ball and walk around and carry on. So we're walking down this long road, like headed home. Now the trees from the woods hang over the asphalt road. Now this is no kidding. We're walking down the road and I'm just watching Stewie walk along in front of me. And I see this shadow on the ground getting bigger, 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 bigger. It was a bat. And this bat swooped down on my dog. And my dog, he's so funny. His ass dipped down and he just took off running, right? And I was laughing so hard. So I call him back. Then the thing swooped down, like almost hit me. So me and him just ran the rest of the way home.
Gotta get out of the range.
But I actually saw the shadow of the bat, like as he was coming down.
He's diving, yeah.
Yeah, but he stood right down on the top of
they
Stewie.
come right next to you.
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy.
That's
they do come after you.
Wow.
Well, I hate to tell you, gentlemen, but we'll be even past our hour. Time flies as always.
I do want to add one thing though.
Go ahead.
Because I did see that the video was made by Anthony Holmes, and I do know that he's actually watching tonight. So hi, Anthony.
Hi, Anthony.
Hey, Anthony, and I hope you don't mind us sharing that video.
No, it's awesome. I just wanted to let everybody know to please keep Dina in their prayers because I heard that she was still having some issues. So
and happy anniversary.
Yes.
Dina, we love you guys.
Yeah.
You guys,
we do love you.
And happy birthday too, because I saw it was her birthday the other day.
There you go.
So
happy birthday. And we do love you.
Get better soon. Hope you
absolutely.
feel better soon.
No comments.
No.
Hey, Ray's in there.
Ray,
hey,
what's
guys.
up, guys?
Ray. Yeah, there's Ray. And, some of us will be down actually in Pennsylvania this week at the Lookout House in Aspers. We'll be down there Thursday through Sunday, just hanging out. No event, no nothing. But if your guys are around, you want to join us or whatever.
When you go to the Lookout House, behind the kitchen is, I guess, what they call the parlor, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Bring 2 pencils with you. Cross them and put them on top of each other, balance them, and ask them to move them. The stairs, literally, we did an experiment there where Jeff Leeper was to my left, Ernie was to my right.
Right.
So about, I would say, 11 o'clock position, 1 o'clock position, I was at 6 o'clock position. I had the pencil pointed at Ernie, and we got sometimes like a demon something. And I said, well, demonologist? And then obvious said, correct. I said, well, Jeff can you point the pencil at him? And he goes, and pointed right at him.
Oh, wow.
Okay, can you move it back and point at Ernie?
Yeah, it wasn't me. Pam and Steve were there witnessing it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Literally, and at one point it looked like somebody just took the pencil and flicked it off.
Wow. Yeah, there is some crazy activity at that place.
Yeah,
It really is.
The workout house is like amazing.
It really is. It really is. You got to, if you haven't been there yet, you got to go down and check it out. It's even just an awesome place to stay at too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, seriously. I mean, it's a great place to go and hang with friends and
Pam
investigate
and
if
Steve
you
are
want
awesome.
to. And Pam and Steve are awesome. So we're looking forward to seeing our friends there, Pam and Steve. So we haven't seen them in a while. So, but you guys got anything else you want to say before we end our show for the evening? Anything coming up? Anything events you guys got going on?
Check us out this Sunday, 7 p.m. on our next episode of Step Into the Paranormal. It's going to be a tribute show for our friend Dave Schindler, who passed away. He was the founder and lead investigator of our original team.
Yep.
And what we're doing now is we are trying to get our makeup dates out of the way because the events we had to postpone from the whole virus thing.
Right.
So October 24th, we will be at the Reliance Bar and Grill in York, Pennsylvania. It'll be our first time investigating it. It's a public investigation. You can get your tickets at yorkghosttours.com. And November 7th, we will be making up another event at the Samuel Miller Mansion, Columbia, PA.
Yeah.
And at that event, we will have the Maven medium Kelly Miller with us.
Yeah.
For the Sam Miller Mansion.
And if you guys want to have some fun looking at the videos that you just saw on here, you can go to www.paranormalinc, like INC, paranormalinc.net. It's not a .com, it's a .net. It has links in the very top to our YouTube channel, to our Facebook site, and it has a calendar, which we are slowly but surely updating at this point.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Me.
Guys, thanks for having us on, man.
Thank you, gentlemen. Always a pleasure. We got to get together and investigate with you guys one of these days.
Yes.
Oh, definitely. Most definitely.
We will hook. Yeah, we will definitely hook that up. That would be fun.
Or we got to do an event together or something. That's what we got to do that too.
You guys got to come to the Sam Miller. You got that place. Okay. It used to be an underground railroad. It has a lot of history behind it.
Oh, cool.
And one of our videos up on YouTube has what was going on in the window. Ernie was pointing to stuff, and I was filming it. Can you turn that one on? And it would ring, and he goes, "Stop! Can you turn that one on?" And literally,
it was crazy.
Wow,
that's
crazy.
Cool.
That's great. We'll have to check that out.
We didn't hear what you said, Carly, right before.
Oh, I said I want to have a Dave experience.
You want to see a Dave experience? You don't want to be part of it.
Yeah, you don't want to be part of it. You just want to see it.
You don't want to be the one run over by the freight train.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. I mean, I'm used to it from LARP, so I guess I'm prepared.
Thank you again, gentlemen, and we will see you again soon, I'm sure.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Thanks for having us.
All right. So, and if you want to check us out, you can catch any of our events, find out about our stuff on my Facebook page at Facebook / Jack Kenna or Jack NY45, or go to my website jackkenna.org, and you can see all of our events, what we got coming up, what's going on there. And again, we will see you all again next Tuesday. Love you all. Have a great one, and see you in another week.
Next Tuesday, we should have Howie Odell on.
Yes, Howie Odell will be our next guest on the show. So, yeah, that's correct. Yes, so join us for Howie next Tuesday night. Love you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.